are also very excited to have you here. Sir, if you could tell us about yourself, like first, like, about your maybe, a background of you, and then we can start off with the questions.
Okay. Uh, Hello all. I'm Gokul. Basically, I belong to Trivandrum, Kerala. Um, I did my UG and PG in English literature. Right now, my PhD is going on. In the meantime, I cleared UPSC 2 times. Second time, I got into IAS. Now, I'm posted to Tirunelveli as Assistant Collector. I joined last November. I'll be here till this coming July. So I've been in the district for last around 4 months. Yeah,
Yeah.
generally that is about.
Yeah, thanks, sir. So let's go back to your vision impairment, because most of our clients, they have vision impairment, and they aspire for higher studies and of course government jobs, and UPSC has been one of the areas that they want to get into. But before we go there, sir, tell us about your vision impairment, what happened, and how did you get rehabilitated and all that.
Um, I was born blind. I have retinitis pigmentosa basically. I have light perception. That is all. And about my rehabilitation, I was more or less a self-made person, so to speak. I come from a rural background, so at that particular time, we didn't have we only knew that when I was in school, for example, when I was up to my fifth, sixth standard and all, I studied in a normal school. I studied in a normal school. I studied in a normal college. I never attended special schools. Only experience I have of special schools is of 4 to 5 months. Initially, I started off on a special school, and then my parents kind of realized that that's not going to work, and they understood that okay, this system that particular system is not going to give their child the best, so they took me in a normal school, made me join a normal school. So at that time, all that we knew of till my fifth, sixth standard is that braille was there. So around my seventh standard, at that particular time, there was one project going on in National Association for the Blind Trivandrum. We somehow got connected to this NAB. I come from Trivandrum basically. So there, I had my first encounter with a computer. Then more or less I was self-trained. I learned everything about screen readers, everything about using a computer, everything about using internet, and everything on my own. And mobility also, I haven't had any you know uh, uh, typical mobility training as such. I developed my own ways of moving around. I developed my own ways of getting going to places. Um, I rarely use a white cane. Uh, I know how to use a white cane. After once I got into college and all, because I wanted to kind of understand how to use a white cane. I had basic training in that, but I rarely use a white cane. I have I tend to rely on other ways of getting around, and um, yeah, that is it. It's mostly I was self-trained. I did develop my own ways of doing things. So yeah.
Yeah. Great. So it's very interesting to, understand like how rehabilitation has helped you, and especially because you did your schooling in mainstream, and you also did, you had this 4 to 5 months period in a special school. So I really like, because most of our clients who come down here, we encourage them to get into a main school rather than a special school, unless it is very much required. So it's a nice perspective from your end. Sir, like you mentioned already that you got into how did you first had this fondness for English? Like, why did you choose English as your subject both in your UG and PG?
No, English was like, once I got,
I request all the participants to please mute yourself. You will have a chance to talk to sir at the end of the session. If you can
yeah,
please
so,
mute your microphones.
yeah,
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
yeah. So I did my 11th and 12th in bioscience, biological science, and I was the second person after Karthik. Many might know Karthik. Karthik is now with Microsoft. So Karthik was the first person to do, first visually impaired person to do um, bioscience in CBSE syllabus. Uh, that was in 2011-13, and I was the second person in 2012-14. Um, but being the first and second person doing such a thing, it was a struggle. It was a struggle of getting court orders. It was a struggle of getting the board to do things. Come up with new rules. And even allowing us to do write the exams. You had to fight with the CBSE to get the orders issued. Everything. So 2014, I completed my 12th. I wanted to get into ISER, that is Indian Institute of Science Research and Education, Science Education and Research. So I got into ISER also. I cleared my JE and all. I had the required cutoff as part of my exam also, this 12th exam also. And I went into counseling. I wanted to get into physics. They were happy with my marks, they were happy with everything, but they were saying that currently, again, the problem was that there were no criteria, there were no standard operating procedure for accommodating a visually impaired student into science stream for college. So and I was thinking, and they were saying, again, you will have to go to court to get the orders and everything. You will have to go to court and uh, get the instructions to change the existing uh, uh, from in the existing procedure.
Hmm.
So that time, I was thinking, okay, 12th was itself, because going to court is a it's financially also very draining, and it's a very stressful thing. So I was thinking, okay, I need not go for that struggle again. My second option was always English literature. So because I used to read a lot and I liked literature, so I was thinking, okay, if not physics, then English literature. So on that is why I went to uh, English literature.
Interesting, sir. How did your journey with UPSC start? I did read and I did speak to you about the Kerala floods that happened in 2018. That is where it all started. So if you could share that experience with our participants here, what happened? Like, you were aspiring to be something else, but then that incident changed it all, and you are talking to us today as a deputy collector.
Yeah, actually, uh, like I wasn't looking at civil service at all. I had already qualified net JRF everything. I was thinking of getting into PhD, into an academic career basically, either research or teaching. But in 2018, when Kerala floods happened, you know, that time most in Trivandrum, most everybody went for some kind of voluntary work. Like usually it is a youth that go for voluntary work, but at that time even our previous generation, parents and all of them went to some kind of voluntary work. So but from in the initial first day, I was stuck at home because I couldn't, uh, you know, go for anyone, anything, do anything, typical voluntary work does not accommodate a visually impaired person. So I was feeling really down that point of time. So I was talking to one of my friends, and I told him like, okay, I'm feeling so down, I cannot do anything. So he was like, he was a junior from college. So he was like, okay, wait a couple of minutes. So he calls up, he after like 10-15 minutes, he called me up and said like, okay, uh, come to, there was a place where all the voluntary work was being coordinated. So he asked me to come to that particular place, and like what they did was like, in many of the places my I know my phone number was circulated. I was given the charge of coordinating, connecting different people, like people who need things and people who had things, and people who were people who were asking to be rescued and who were ready to go for the rescue and that kind of thing. So in a couple of days, I was working with the topmost team of the Kerala flood voluntary mechanism, like Kerala flood rescue mechanism. I was working with the topmost team. We were doing all the coordination activity. So at that time, we got to uh, I got to work with several officers, like the Trivandrum district collector who was coordinating all the voluntary activity, the several IAS officers who were young officers who were doing a great deal of work. So at that time, I was thinking like, okay, this is what I want to do, because um, I was already feeling that an academic career is like a little static. I'm not saying one career is greater than other or anything. Every job has its value, but then I was feeling, okay, this academic career is a little static. That kind of wouldn't suit me, because I already loved traveling. I already loved interacting a lot with public, that and all. So I was thinking this wouldn't suit me that much. So, and I started thinking like, okay, a civil service career is something that would suit me, that I would love to do. So that is what put the thought into my mind. I was already into debating, like extempore, all that. So I had read most of the material, which would be read by a civil service aspirant. So in that level, I was kind of, unconsciously priming myself for this. So I thought, okay, I'll give a try. So that is how I got into this.
Great, sir. So tell us about your strategies, like because UPSC exam, I mean, if I were to write UPSC exam, I would actually go underground and not come out because I'd be so scared of writing it. But what are your strategies, sir? What were your strategies? Like I believe you did not undergo any coaching as such, formal coaching. So what did you do to get into UPSC and 804 rank? Am I right? Like it was
Yeah,
804,
first
right?
time was 804, second time was 257.
See, I mean, to get such a rank among lakhs of people. So, what did you do, sir? Like, what was your strategy, and how did you, take out time from your regular schedule to prepare for UPSC exam?
No, like I said, in a way, I used to read newspapers from like 2013, 2014 onwards. It was not for civil service. Like I said, I was a professional debater. I was debating at national levels. So I was debating. Basically, I used to go to these uh, prime time debates also. So I needed to have this content, updated current affairs. I needed to stay on top of things. I needed to read newspapers. So I used to read newspapers from 2014 onwards. Plus, again, to do professional debating, I had to have that kind of content. I had to know history, I had to know polity, I had to know economics, everything. So I read all these things. NCERT textbooks are they provide you the kind of content that you need. So I used to read all these. I read it in 2014, 2015 itself. That became a huge blessing in terms of getting the content, because when I thought of writing civil service exam later in 2018, I had already covered the material once or twice. Uh, Plus, this debating again helped me, because In debating, what you do is you organize things. You organize things into points. You organize things into, you know, small points, and then substantiate these with examples. That is how you present your argument. That is
Hmm.
what exactly what you do in your UPSC mains exam. So again, that really helped me, uh, get into that frame. Then of course, I did my first time. My preparation time was like 2 months. That is very small. I didn't go for any coaching or anything. I couldn't because I gave my first prelims in the middle of my PG exams. So
Hmm.
I didn't go for any coaching or anything. Second time again, since I cleared the first time, all the coaching institutes also said that you don't need regular coaching. You just need to prepare on your own.
Hmm.
So a strategy means um, one thing is to understand all the concepts very clearly. You need to have a very lucid idea of all the concepts, whatever concepts come in. A lot of concepts come in. You need to have a clear idea of that. Then you need to have a, you know uh, an idea of how to apply these in practical application levels. Like, for example, let us say in economics, you have something like inflation, deflation, and all that. So now you need to know how does this apply in your daily life, or how does this apply in a common man's life. That common man's perspective also needs to be there. And plus, you need to think out of the box. When you give UPSC exams, in mains exams, they always ask you for suggestions, like what are your suggestions, what are your comments, like that. So at that time, you need to have a, clear idea of, out of the box thinking. You have to give out of the box answers, which, because if you look at your mains exam, like prelims exam is written by some 6 lakh people, and your mains exam is written by some
Hmm.
15,000 people. So your answer sheet has to stay somehow different from the rest of the 14,999 people. That is when you get a good marks. That is when you qualify.
Okay. Great. I'm sure our participants who are listening in, are getting an idea of how they can
See, like I was saying, it is, if you ask me if it is a total accident, it is not. Uh, like I have been in a way preparing for UPSC from maybe 2014, 2015. Not that I never wanted to write UPSC, but all the things that people put in for preparing UPSC, I have been doing. Like I've been reading newspapers, I've been reading my NCRT textbooks. I've been even, debating is in a way like practicing for your mains answer writing, because when you go for debate competitions, you get topic 3 minutes in advance, and within 3 minutes you have to prepare and come up on the stage and speak. So that is, when I came for actual UPSC preparations, these things actually help me. Plus, of course, interview any person who's been debating, participating in discussions. Such a person, interview is generally something that it comes naturally to us. So only part is you had to prepare for prelims. Prelims preparation is totally different. That you have to do, and that I did. That I basically did by writing a lot of mock tests. Uh, I gave like almost 100 mock full tests over uh, the two times, two prelims I gave. So that part was there. Apart from that, mains was like this only, because content wise, I was already reading up stuff.
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes, Aishwarya.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry about the technical glitch, sir. I was just asking about your transformation. I mean, once upon a time, before getting into UPSC and becoming the deputy collector, before getting into IAS, you were on the other side of the desk representing a community. But after you did, you got into the district collectorate in Tirunelveli, and you were on the, the other side of the desk now, addressing the queries of the public. How has your experience been representing both communities? If you can share with us your experience.
Um, Transformation wise, I don't know if much has happened because, uh, in terms of in terms of looking at myself as a person, I haven't really changed. I have still that civil society mindset with me in one way or the other. Like uh, even now when I speak, even when I think now or speak now or take a decision, it may not be the kind of decision a very bureaucratic official may take. Uh, for example, if you look at it here in Tamil Nadu, the panchayat system is kind of strange. Like the district collector has the authority to dismiss an elected panchayat president. I keep saying everywhere that it should not be like that. Panchayat should have more powers. Gram Sabha should have more powers. Uh, no, sane IAS officer would say that because see, this gives us a lot of powers in terms of controlling the panchayat, getting our agenda done. But I always say like the, let the whole process be more democratic. In that way, I haven't changed because I was working with I was working with several NGOs during my time in college and all. Starting from 2016-17, I was with many NGOs. That is what actually brought me into flood time volunteering also. I was working with NGOs during COVID time. That time I was preparing for the exam, but even then I was taking out time to do something or the other. So but then when we are in the other side of the desk, we also realize the constraints of the officers. Sometimes officers also have their constraints in getting things done. There are various kinds of constraints. They also have their own limitations. Uh, and sometimes even if some civil society organization comes up with something that they may be doing it in very good intention, but as an officer you have an overall perspective. From that overall perspective, their intention may be harmful to something or somebody else. So all that angles come in when an officer takes a decision. So now I am like I'm able to understand a nuanced perspective, a more a holistic perspective. Uh, like for example, I have been working in climate. I've been working with several NGOs that try to address a problem of climate change, forest, etc. So today I went up to today I went to some forest settlements in the top of the Western Ghats, and I came back around 3:30, 3:45. So we actually need to put up a road there. So earlier, the earlier version of me would have thought that okay, putting up a road through the forest is kind of should not be done because of all the climate change concerns. But then today I realized that uh, these settlement people also need to have their transportation facilities. They need to go to in case of a medical emergency, they need to come down to get goods. They need to come down. So you have to balance these things. That kind of realization has come.
Great, sir. I mean, it's very interesting that you have seen both the worlds, experienced it. I really like the way you have described, the construction of road, on one hand you were like, you would not have uh, for the construction of road at one point, but now you are like, because those people also need these facilities. So it's a very interesting perspective from your end.
Yeah,
So my
it's like
next, yeah,
yeah,
please go
it's
ahead,
like
sir.
you have to balance. Like for example, like
Yeah.
they might ask road up to some point which would be deep in the forest, but we might have to stop it somewhere uh, slightly outside the forest, so that the forest is also not affected. But at the same time, they have their means of transport also. So that's about
Mhm.
getting that very thin balance.
Mhm. Thanks, sir. Thank you for putting it up, putting this thing so beautifully in front of us. So, my next question to you is, you have been in Tirunelveli. Like, I personally have been a part of, your brainchild. I would like to tell the audience that usually every district of Tamil Nadu, they have a book fair. And as a part of book fair this year, in the month of Feb, sir actually came up with this idea of having the book fair in conjunction with assistive technology. So different assistive technology where products were displayed. There were different exhibitors and people from different schools and special educators who have no idea about assistive technology. Why is it used for? So they got an awareness of what assistive technology is, and Gokul sir has been behind bringing up this together. So I also remember, sir, many of us, when we saw you there, like you were looking like, some college student. Sorry, I'm being honest. But then, to think about it, you were the man behind setting the assistive technology conclave there. So, how, I'm coming to my question. So, my question is, how important it is for a person with vision impairment to be a part of the policy making body, because I personally have known many students, clients over here who faced a lot because things were not in place. And in my own personal life, when it comes to the facilities were not given to me on time, so there were many problems like that. So in that case, sometimes I think I wish there was somebody in power who could represent visually impaired, and who better to represent visually impaired than a person who has vision impairment themselves. So what is your take on that, sir, that how important it is for a person with vision impairment to be there and make decisions and be in the policy making body?
Um, as a, as an, if I speak as an IAS officer, hello,
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
yeah. So, like as part of as an IAS officer, if I speak of my personal self, uh, there might be this thought that okay, this guy is into IAS now. Now, as since he is visually impaired, uh, he would be the ideal guy. He would be always standing, only for as a representative of the differently able community. But as an officer, I cannot do that, and I won't be doing that because I would be the officer of, if I become today I'm the assistant collector, if I today tomorrow I'll be sub collector, and someday they might post me as a collector, then I would be the you know the representative, or I would be working for every section of the society. So my ability to totally focus on the disability sector would be constrained. But then what happens is, when something larger comes up, if some such person is in power, if some such person is there, they would naturally think of incorporating an element of accessibility or inclusivity or whatever. And again, it's like it's not like other officers who are like other bureaucrats are not interested in these things. Many people are actually interested, but then they also don't know what to do. And when our individual problems as an individual, some issue of some disabled person comes up, these issues actually don't reach the top. Our support our the commonplace staff, the official staff, like the clerks and the uh, yeah, clerks and the constables and all that, those people try to somehow keep these issues, sweep the issues under the carpet. They don't want to take a undue risk, unnecessary effort to, they see it as an unnecessary effort. But if such issues usually reach the top, like maybe it is brought into the purview of an IAS officer, a sub collector or a collector or something, those issues usually get solved because they are also interested. But usually what happens is they don't know what to do, how to do, whom to approach to incorporate this element of disability friendliness. So generally my solution would be, we always talk of stakeholders. So whenever something major is coming up, whenever something public is coming up, make some differently abled person a stakeholder of this, make them also part of the stakeholder meeting. But then, to be honest, I would say this again, when I'm on this side of the table, I know this, like, the disability organizations themselves are very splintered. They, most of the time, what they do is they represent self-interest, not even the interest of their particular disability, but very very selfish interest. Like, if you look in Tamil Nadu, I know that there are at least 5 6 associations for the visually impaired people. All of them have varied interests, and all these interests doesn't stand for the common visually impaired person. So it's very difficult to work with these associations, and that is why these officers tend to cut out the associations and tend to do things which uh, seem to them to be the right things. uh, there needs to be some kind of honest representation, honest kind of stakeholder participation, and then things can get solved. But it is important for every officer, every person in power, to make sure that the differently able people also become stakeholders.
Mhm. I get it, sir. So you are basically saying that there could be one platform where you can bring the people with disabilities as stakeholders and the organizations who are working for it, and then something can happen in this regard towards the
Yes.
benefit of people with disabilities.
Yeah.
Uh, Thanks, sir. Sir,
Plus,
my yes, sir.
yeah,
Please go ahead.
another thing is like, you have to, for example, we were talking about the book fair. So a book fair, like, when we were planning, book fair is a big event. Like, totally over the 11 days, more than 6 lakh people came. And plus, after you guys went back after 3 days, uh, over the next 8 days also, there were several things related to disability. The whole idea of disability became a discussion point. The whole thing
Mm,
happened because we brought in the stakeholders, like, not even myself, like, I was involved with the whole book fair. So I couldn't look at this particular thing as a separate thing. But we brought in students and teachers from blind school, from other special schools, schools for the intellectually disabled, that kind of thing. So behind every function, that every program or every event or every function or every scheme that the government takes up, there should be this kind of stakeholder participation. Like, for example, let us say, like, uh, this Mahatma Gandhi MGNREGS, the National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. It is a major flagship scheme of the government, central government. So why won't they look at a possibility of giving jobs to disabled people? They cannot. All disabled people cannot do outdoor jobs of the kind envisioned in NREGS. But then why don't they look at providing some other kind of job that a visually impaired or a hearing impaired or a orthopedically handicapped person does. This kind of
Mhm.
thought has to come in. That is the whole idea.
Great, sir. Sir, I have just two more questions. I'll just make an announcement to the participants. Participants, in a while, we'll be opening the room for questions from your end. So please be prepared. We can go ahead with like 4 to 5 questions. So we will let you all know when to ask. So I'll go ahead with two more questions that I
Yeah.
have. Actually, three. The other two are just short. So coming, sir, like you have learned like assistive technology well, and you moved from your comfort zone, Trivandrum to Tirunelveli, where the language is different, culture is different, and you're staying alone there. So many people, like what I've seen is they may not really get into assistive technology, like okay, why should I? Or no, of course some of them do learn assistive technology and they are independent in whatever way they can be, and also not many are willing to relocate. So that independence, being independent as visually, I mean, this is not in regard to IAS or anything like that. This is just
Hmm.
a general question about
Okay.
a person with vision impairment. So what would be your message to our participants here, sir? Like, how important it is for one to be independent from your own experience?
Uh, See, it's like when you are independent, when you are able to travel on your own, when you are able to do things on your own, you are basically, see, why is it that uh, people are kind of unwilling to take a visually impaired person into a job? Why is it that they're unwilling to you know accommodate visually impaired people? The answer is very simple. It's like, it's not that they don't want to take us into jobs or anything. It's rather that uh, they have their own constraints in dealing with all these issues. Like, there are 1,000 things. People will think like, okay, how will a visually impaired person come to my office? Okay, and how will they move around in my office? What all things might, like, how will they interact with my clients? How will they interact with my customers, like that? So like, if I am able to show that, see, it is even like, I qualified the exam, I got into IAS, but if I want to work as an assistant collector, and if the government, only if I show myself that I can do all these things, then only will the government give me the next posting as a sub collector or whatever. Otherwise, they'll put me in some department where there is no work. So that is what I am thinking every day. As an assistant collector, I have to make that impression on the government that this guy can independently do all that is required of a sub collector. And even now, I'm not sure if the government will or will not post me as a sub collector. That there is no assured thing. While all my other batchmates, whether they have done anything or not as assistant collectors, they will get sub collectorship. That is sure. But in my case, I have to put that 10 times additional effort to show the government, show the people in power that, okay, this guy is doing stuff. This guy is competent, extra competent. So for that, you have to get out of your comfort zone. And problem is that most of the time what happens is, you know, uh, in our childhood and all, during our childhood and all, uh, we are kind of discouraged from moving about. We are kind of discouraged from, everybody is fearful. Okay, what happens if she will fall down or something, or she or he will get alone, like that many times. So we are encouraged from moving around, discouraged from moving around, discouraged from exploring, and we are not taught to live in an independent manner. But plus what happens is, this I wanted to really talk about, because when a person is born blind, or when a person becomes blind, the first reaction in part of their from the part of their parents, uh, is to go into total shock, depression, that kind of thing. What happens with many of the parents is that they don't come out of that. uh, what results is like the development of the person will be totally, that development will not happen. Like this is very scientific actually. Like especially in that age of childhood, if development does not happen, uh, that really negatively affects the individual as I grow up. So but what happened with me was, my parents were, I always say this, they are awesome because they were able to come out of the depression very quickly, and then they were thinking of what to provide their child to come out of this situation, or to make the best of what is available. Like I said, they send me to a no, mainstream school. Like uh, that is something that was not thinkable at that point of time, but they sent me to a mainstream school. They encouraged me at that time itself to, slowly they were giving me independence. Slowly they were encouraging me to travel alone. Slowly, by the time I reached college, I used to go alone. uh, Sometimes friends would be with me, other times alone. So once I reached a certain stage, I started taking up independence on my own. Now wherever I travel on my own. Uh, I don't ask for, somebody, a traveling companion or anything. So one thing is, on the part of the parents, they have to, sometimes even your child won't feel very comfortable, but then, even then, you have to forcefully make them do stuff. Sometimes your child will, as a visually impaired child, they will cry, they will crib, don't care. Uh, if you have to show anger, show it. Understand that it will be good for them in the future. So that independence you have to bring. That independence will help the child in the future. And as visually impaired people, also, we have to take things into our own hands.
Mhm. Great, sir. Thank you for such a lovely message. I'm sure our participants are listening in. I will now go ahead with my one more question, and then I'll open the room for the participants. So, if not for IAS, or let's say if not even for being into English language and all, or let me ask it this way: where would you see yourself 10 years from now?
Where would I see? I'm not. I'm not very clear about that because, for one, I have never really thought of. I mean, the latest point of time I have is, like, next Sunday or Monday, because some of my friends are coming over next Friday. So right now, the latest point of time I can think of is next Sunday or Monday. Beyond that, like, it's very, it's very fluid, like what can happen.
Hmm.
uh, but then, um, what I would say is like, um, I this is very fluid because I am not such a, you know uh, again, another thing I would take it up. I would say, this along with, I would, to answer of as an answer of this question, I would put something that I wanted to say. Like, uh, people have seen academic successes from visually impaired community. There are many academic successes from visually impaired community, but I don't see myself as an academic success, someone who has qualified uh, IAS. uh, there are many other things that I do. For example, I'm a passionate swimmer. I like swimming a lot. I like trekking. Like I said, today I went to one settlement. I had to trek like 4 kilometers. I enjoyed it a great deal. Uh, I like mountaineering. Uh, Someday, maybe 10 years from now, I would like to visit maybe Mount Kailash, and I would like to climb Everest. Who knows? Uh, uh, Plus, I like a lot of these things. I like to travel a lot. So maybe 5 years from now, I would like to be in a in a government position which allows me to visit many foreign countries, maybe. So that is it. Like, I don't know, 5 or 10 years from now where I would be. Uh, but then I would like to be in a position where you can shape things. Like,
Mm.
you can shape things. You can your ideas can shape how things happen.
Yeah. Thanks, sir. I mean, it's very interesting to know that IS officer wants to trek Mount Kailash, and we wish you the best with that endeavor.
Thank you.
And we hope, like next time we hear about you, we get to hear that you actually climbed up there. So now I like to open the session for our participants here. Participants, if you have any questions, please ask away.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
So, I am preparing for UPSC since 2 years. I am
Okay.
in second year of college, and I am visually impaired. My preparation is good, but I have a problem in information retention. There is a huge stuff of information regarding the mains and the optional. So, what a normal person will do, he will remember by writing it. He will remember by pie charts, by tree diagrams. But I am not able to retain it for a longer period of time. So, how to tackle this problem, sir?
And this is with everyone. It's not like visually impaired people have a problem with information retention. Like, UPSC syllabus is so vast that 98 out of 100 people struggle with information retention. And the two people who do not struggle have such photographic memories that they are never good for IAS. Okay. So, uh, thing is that you can also write down notes. I used to use Evernote. Evernote. I used to take notes in Evernote. You can use either Evernote, OneNote, or you can simply use open Notepad and type your information in. Uh, I wrote it down that way only. Pie charts, tree diagrams, mind maps. These are just ways of uh, you know uh, uh, learning things that you can find your own ways of. For example, like, I what I used to do was, I used to try to remember information in terms of relating these. What a tree diagram does is relate information. Like, one major tree, it branches off to different things. This you can construct mentally also. You don't need a diagram as such. You can construct it mentally. Like, even if a sighted person looks at a tree diagram, uh, at the end of the day, they have to connect it mentally. That you can do with your own imagination, easy enough. This is, these things are not at all a constraint.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Can we go ahead with another person with the next question, please?
Good evening, sir. Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hi, ma'am.
Yes,
Hi, ma'am.
please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Gokul, sir.
Yeah. Good evening.
This is Parthiban connecting from Madurai,
Okay.
from the community of civil aspirants.
Okay.
Okay, nice talking to you after a long time. My best wishes, sir, for your second success. Sir, actually, I have two queries here, two doubts. First thing, related to current affairs. What might be your uh, input area for usual current affairs? Are you sticking with any either any magazines or any kind of YouTube channel to listen? First, my first question is: can you help us, sir?
See, I used to read, like I said, I used to read newspapers regularly. Plus, uh, of course, Yojana and Kurukshetra I used to read regularly. Then I used to look at PIB note summaries, and I used to follow Insights Current Affairs regularly. This is what I did. Like there are n number of sources. Whatever is comfortable for you, you can choose. But these things like Yojana and Kurukshetra are usually it's part of the preferred things.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. My second and last question is, um, how did you manage with CSAT? Can you give us some short
Yeah,
tips?
CSAT actually came along well for me because I was already writing SSC, CGL, CHSL and all. I cleared CHSL, I cleared CGL. There you have to have a understanding of, and I did my, up to my 12th, I did maths. So I always liked maths also. So there are these, simple tricks by which you can solve all these math problems, uh, like this, the 10 men worked for 20 days, that kind of question. Uh, Once you get it, you can easily solve it. Like you can solve it within your mind itself, or you can, of course, you can always ask the assistance of, you can ask your scribe to do the calculation. You only need to give the formula and things like that. uh, Plus whatever pictures come in also, like one person walked from point X to point Y, then turned north, that and all, you can ask your scribe to draw the figure, and you can try drawing it in on your own hand palm, for example. You'll get a fair idea of like what is the whole thing.
Oh,
Thank you,
thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank you
Uh,
very much, sir. And my best wishes
yeah,
for your upcoming
Oh,
assignments. Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for this
you're welcome.
opportunity.
You're
Hello, ma'am.
welcome. So next, yes, please go ahead with your question.
Yes, ma'am. This is Ravindra Kumar here from Delhi. Sir, I'm really amazed to know your journey, and you are the great inspiration for us. Sir, my question is, this is a short question. How to stay motivated during this preparation? And another question is about optional. Optional plays a crucial role in the mains examination. What would be the best strategy for this?
how to stay motivation is like do things that you like. For example, I used to set targets and then I used to set rewards. Like if I completed one chapter of this textbook today, I will watch the next episode of my favorite web series. And when I completed like maybe once in 1 month or something, I used to take one day off and go for a trip with my friends. And like at the like once I studied for like 4 5 hours a day, like by the evening I used to call up from some friend from college and talk about all the gossip. These are the simple ways in which you keep yourself motivated. Do things that you like. Keep rewarding yourself. Like once you complete a target, give yourself a reward that you like, whatever you like.
Yeah.
So yeah. Second question, second optional strategy is, I don't know, because it is better that you discuss with some mentor, because different optionals will have different strategies. Uh, my optional was Malayalam literature, which is my mother tongue. Only thing is like look at a couple of things. Number one is how have been the score in the last few years. Uh, have Has it been a scoring optional? Number two, how is the syllabus? Is it too vast, or look at a compact optional? And number three is like, do you have sufficient number of institutions giving you test series, mains, optional exams, optional test series? If there are enough institutions, that is good.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. We can go ahead with one short question and then we'll be concluding
Actually,
it. So,
Good evening, ma'am.
one request raised by Dr. Vijay Shankar Sharma for a question. So, sir, can you please go ahead with the last question? Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is Dr. Vijay Shankar Sharma.
Hello, doctor.
Currently, I'm calling from USA,
Okay.
but I'm placed in Lucknow.
Okay.
Since I'm sorry I joined this program little late, but with your few discussion, in the last question or last to last question, you answered that you opted for mathematics till class 12th, I suppose.
Yeah.
So my submission is, not submission means suggestion, which I sought from you, that in northern part of our country, especially in Uttar Pradesh, it's very difficult that most of the institutions, those are schools for the visually impaired, are not offering mathematics as a subject, mathematics and science as a subject after class 8th, because of the CBSE circular. You know that they can, a visually impaired person can opt for other subjects in place of mathematics and science.
Yeah.
So how to cope up with this situation? And since you are IAS now, so if something comes from you, that can be easily implemented. Because in my state, I'm trying hard. I think last year only one of the schools started with one teacher. So this is really a problem, because if you give option to visually impaired person, since books are not available, enough equipments are not available, and especially trained teachers, those who can teach mathematics, are not available. So I would like to seek some input from you, sir, if you can.
Sir, this is actually it's what you call a vicious cycle, because uh, who are the teachers who teach in special schools? They are the people who came out of special schools once, so they never took mathematics, and so now you don't have enough teachers who can teach mathematics to in special schools. So this cycle continues. Like, only one way to come out of the problem is to slowly try to dismantle the whole special school structure. Like, why do you need a special? Today, if you look at it, there are n number of ways in which a visually impaired person can learn mathematics. There are tactile textbooks which can represent any given diagram. There are computer software which can help the visually impaired person to both learn and teach mathematics. There, I will tell you, with the kind of AI that is being adopted, within the next 2-3 years, we will be able to. I'm pretty confident about this. You will be able to convey uh, images, figures, etc., to a visually impaired person exactly how vision is being communicated. There, I'm sure there things are going to develop which will be able to convey images with the exact quality of vision to visually impaired people. So uh, in terms of technology, in terms of uh, availability of equipments, availability of these things, there's no problem. The problem lies with affordability and accessibility. Even in terms of affordability, we'll be having huge steps in very recent times. But problem is that then uh, the whole idea becomes a mindset problem. Why is that the special schools in your state, or for that matter any state, is resistant? Because the teachers there don't know how to teach math. The teachers subconsciously fear that they will lose their authority, they will lose their jobs, they will lose their position, their salary, and therefore they don't adopt. Now what we will have to slowly start changing is, what you have to uh, slowly start changing is, you have to slowly make sure that at least the young students join the mainstream schools. Within next 10 or 15 years, the whole idea of special schools must go. Why do we need a special school when such technological when things have come up so far, there is no requirement of a special school. So at least the young ones, the new kids who are coming up, you have to slowly make them join the mainstream school, and you have to show some successes. Then all mainstream schools will slowly take in visually impaired kids. There are many models, many models are coming up. A simple Google search will give you models where mainstream schools have turned into inclusive schools. We are here in Tirunelveli also, we are starting up in few schools from the next academic year. We are turning mainstream schools into inclusive schools, which you know can accommodate all kinds of disabilities. I'm not saying all kinds of disabilities. Some form of intellectual disability might not be, they might need a different kind of environment, attention, and all that. But visual impairment and all, surely they'll be able to accommodate. Plus, if you look at your national education policy, like national education policy also talks of inclusive education up to 18 years. In that respect also, you will get wholehearted support from the government if someone takes the effort. So the whole idea is that to ensure STEM education for visually impaired people, they have to be accommodated into mainstream schools.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And on that note, we will be closing the question sessions because
only
Madam, this is Kannan from Chennai. Only one small request, one small appreciation to Mr. Gokul.
Yeah.
So this is Kannan from Chennai.
Yeah, I think
actually I read a news about you in a newspaper. It's very, very appreciating thing. On the day of persons with disability on December 3rd, 2022, you made the enjoyment of film is very accessible by arranging the blind students to watch a film called Ponniyin Selvan. It's an accessible presentation. It was widely published in the many newspapers of Tamil Nadu. It's a very great thing, very good achievement. So, hearty congratulations for such
thank you.
Wonderful things.
Actually, we did much more during book fair, but then this was such a, this is what you call, kind of what you call publicity stunt. So that event got a lot of attention. Yes. But in book fair, we actually did much more constructive work. Like the whole Tirunelveli, we got them to discuss the whole idea of accessibility.
Great.
That was much more constructive, but then that didn't get that kind of media coverage, of course, because it's not the kind of thing that makes cheap publicity.
Yes,
but then the message I wanted to give through this the movie screening was that equality of opportunity should not just be limited to education. It should be there in entertainment, sports, everything.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, Devagari was saying something. Sorry.
Yeah, Aishwarya, there are a couple of them are asking for a chance for a question, but considering our collector's time, we want to close it. But
I will take up the questions on helpline, Devagaru. They can send the questions, contact the helpline. I'm going to announce the helpline numbers and also share with you the email ID. So you can contact us and we will, share your questions with Gokul sir. So our numbers are 040, that is the STD code, and our number is 68102841. I repeat, 68102841. Instead of 41, you can also dial 42. So our email ID is rehab. I request one of our team members.
It is already posted in.
It is also posted here in this call. rehabhelpline@lvpei.org. You can contact us. You can share with us your questions. We'll share it with Gokul sir. Also, if you need any updates of such meetings, we will be posting it in our WhatsApp group. So you can contact us to be a part of these WhatsApp groups. I now request Dr. Deva Jayaraman, our rehab specialist, to give away the vote of thanks.
Sir, Gokul sir, we are very happy to have you here because we are in the field from 30 years. I think Dr. Beulah Christie also joined from the US. She's in the program, one of the programs in Perkins School for the Blind. And I can understand how early you started your mathematics. That is what is the answer I expected from you, because your parents would have started it very early, because it is very difficult to prepare for JE. You cracked JE. So we know the volume of work had gone behind that, and the list of examinations attended by you and your determination and dedication. It really, it's that spread an inspiration to all the participants in the group and as well as for us. So we are very, very happy to have you here and so thankful and grateful to you. Hope we will be connected in the future also. And we had a lot about you from Aishwarya during her meet in Tirunelveli's 3D painting workshop. So thank you once again. We'll meet again. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for organizing.
Thank you, sir. On behalf
Thank
of
you.
Institute for Vision Rehabilitation, LV Prasad Eye Institute, we thank you and also the participants for being here. We wish you a lovely weekend and we now disperse. Thank you so much.